Hey guys, welcome back to the Power Play on WDSR Radio. Again, I am Katie, and I am joined with Daisy and Chris. And we've touched quite a bit on what's going on in Olympic hockey, both men and women's, with the gold medal rounds coming up soon within the next week. But discussing that, I think it's time to make some gold medal predictions, because I definitely have some ideas as far as who's going to go home with the gold in their hands.
I think our predictions are just about the same, Katie. I definitely have the United States and Russia in the gold medal game, but I'm still up in the air as to who actually takes home the gold, as to who leaves Russia or stays in Russia with the silver medal.
I think Canada's going to pull the upset, if you can call it an upset in the semis, if they do win their game and play the US. I feel like the Canadians are being underrated. If you look at their lineup, I know they haven't been playing 100%. As far as Canada can definitely improve. I know no one wants to hear it, but they're going to be a formidable matchup in the semifinals.
I just don't think they've had a strong enough showing so far for me to believe that they're going to go too far into the medal rounds. I mean, when you look at how USA has done, how Russia has done, even how Finland has done, Canada is a contender, but it's not a top contender for me.
But all it takes is them to step up for one game. I know it's the Olympics, but if Canada can step up and play, if the Canadians could play to their true potential, could they knock off the US?
I mean, if they step up their game and really come out with a strong showing, then yeah, they could knock off the U.S. They could knock off any team they want. When you look at Canada, we talked about this last week, they have such a strong depth of players, both offense and defense. So if they come ready to play and they play as a team instead of a bunch of all-stars out on the ice together, then yeah, they can knock off whoever they face. It's just a matter of whether they're going to get it together before, the medal rounds start.
I definitely have Finland sitting in bronze. I had Sweden for the bronze medal, but I'm really debating that now with a key injury that we are actually going to be talking about later. I think Finland's been such a strong presence this year, surprisingly, especially with Oilimata. I just am really gunning for them. I don't think they're going to make it as far as being in the gold medal game, but I would like to see Finland win a bronze medal for this Olympic tournament.
I would love to see Olli Mata win a medal, whether it's gold, silver, bronze. I want to see that kid. I want to see that kid win a medal. Might make me feel worse about myself, but I want to see him win a medal.
Katie gets a B in her exam. Mata gets a medal. It's
hey, I'll take a B in the exam the way my semester's been going.
Bit of discrepancy there, but it means the same for both people, listeners.
Okay, so your final medal predictions for right now. Katie, who do you have?
I'm going Finland bronze, Russia silver, and USA gold.
I'm still in debate with myself between the gold and silver between the United States and Russia, but I will have to agree with you on those.
And I'm going to be the odd one out here and say Canadian gold over Russia. I don't know who they're going to play in that gold medal game, but I'm just going to predict that Canada is going to win it all.
And to bring up, speaking of the medals, and I had mentioned my bronze medal prediction being Sweden and Henrik Lundqvist. I am a big Lundqvist fan in net. Henrik Zetterberg, captain of the Red Wings, and also Sweden. This key injury for Team Sweden, a herniated disc flaring up to force Zetterberg out of the Olympics. I know how terrible back pain actually is. I've been through physical therapy for back pain myself, and it's just, I can't even imagine playing with a herniated disc would feel like, and I can't imagine as captain of my country's team what would happen, how I would feel being pulled out right before everything starts to go.
No, I totally agree. I mean, that's a terrible injury to have at a terrible timing too. So, Sweden's got some they got some decisions to make, and they got a lot to look at right now, and they have very little time to do it. So, I can see where at one point they would have been a medal contender, but yeah, that injury is going to hurt them big time. Especially when we're talking about how important defense and goaltending is, to have something like that come up. Yeah, that's that's huge for them.
Zetterberg wasn't reached for comment, but Daniel Alfredson was, and he is very upset. He says, he's our leader, our captain, and one of our best players. To replace him is going to be impossible. And I guess Zetterberg's had been having problems with his back before, and it's been described, he told Sweden, a publication for Sweden, that it's the same problem as before, it's only 20 times worse, and that he just can't play there anymore, that it's virtually impossible.
As a Detroit fan, do you worry when Zetterberg gets back?
As a Detroit fan, absolutely. I mean, that's not an injury you can just, kind of sleep off or whatever. That's a big one you got to work through and you got to power through. But here and now, Sweden's dealing with it now, but Detroit's going to be dealing with it, in a week or so when we get back to the NHL schedule.
I was reading a lot about that this morning as well. A Mark Madden publication, actually, something that he had written about the NHL allowing its players to go to the Olympic Games. And this is what he brought up. These key injuries in the Olympics are also affecting the players for the NHL. Like, that's how they make their living with their NHL games. And they want to go and they want to represent their country. And winning a gold medal is more important than winning a Stanley Cup for some players. Like, it's your home team. You're playing with people that are from your home country, virtually your brothers. But if you're making your living in the NHL and you've signed contracts and the NHL is letting you go play for your home country and things like this happen, what can you do?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, this is the NHL, that is their career, and they have a lot resting on that. Not just, are you going to win a game or are you going to be out for a couple games or whatever. But, winning a gold medal or any medal for that matter is huge, although I consider it a very high honor to be chosen to participate on your country's Olympic team to begin with. So, if I was in the shoes of all these Olympic athletes, if I knew I wasn't getting a medal, I would feel honored just being there. So,
do you see the NHL doing anything in, maybe not 4 years, but in 8 years perhaps, saying that sort of not allowing their players to leave for the Olympics?
I don't think that would ever be possible with the talent they have in the NHL. They're all from all these different countries, and I think it's a lot of pride for these players to be asked to play in the Olympic tournament for their countries. I don't think they could ever get away with it, in all honesty. It's going to happen, and you just have to be careful and know that these injuries are going to happen. In Henrik Zetterberg's case, with the herniated disc, it had been bothering him before, and it really just came to a head in the Olympics, and it was an unfortunate time for it to happen, but I don't think the NHL is ever going to disallow their players from playing in the Olympics.
I agree. It's giving the NHL great exposure. I mean, the hockey games are one of the biggest events of the Winter Olympics. It's the one sport that everybody pretty much understands and everybody watches, so that's huge exposure for the NHL with as many players as they have in the tournament right now.
And I have one last really quick, interesting question before we head off into Jake's rant segment. Was Chris Kunitz a good choice for Team Canada? That's the only other big thing in the Olympic hockey world that I have been really seeing come up in the media, that he was chosen and everyone was really gunning for him, and he was playing on a wing with Crosby, and it really fizzled out these past few games that they've been playing, and he was dropped from Crosby's line. What do you guys think?
I mean, that's a tough one, because I still think Kunitz is a great hockey player, but when you look at Team Canada as a whole, I think there's a lot of players you could look at as, oh, they're having a great NHL season and they're a great player, but why aren't they producing for us in the Olympics? So I think when you're looking at him from a Pittsburgh fan standpoint, yeah, you could question, was he a good choice? Did they make the right decision by inviting him to play? But when you're looking at it as a Team Canada fan, I think you're going to ask the entire team as a whole, why aren't we producing more? Why aren't we performing up to the standards that I think everyone expected them to?
And I think it was a surprise to see him drop, but after seeing him playing, it wasn't a surprise. Like, if that makes sense, like, if you watch the games, you could see that there really wasn't a great connection on that Crosby line, and to drop him was the smart thing to do. Like, it's the Olympics, you have to try and find what works now, and now that you're in the knockout stage, it's what works for the next sort of 60-odd minutes, because that's that's where the medal's going to be either won or lost. And you have to make moves, and if the move doesn't pay off, well, so be it. You tried, but at least you could sleep at night knowing that you actually tried to do something to make that team a lot better than it is.
You've got to go with what's working. That's the number one thing. You go with what's working, and if that doesn't work, then you go to plan B. But first, you got to start by who's playing well in a line together, who's jiving well together, and who's giving you the best results. And
that wasn't Kunitz. He just wasn't living up to. He plays a lot better for the Pens than he is playing for Canada right now. And I'm sure you'll see him come back and play fantastic for the Pens. It's just a matter of the system, and he obviously doesn't fit in the Team Canada system right now.
All right, guys, we are going to go ahead and take our last quick break before we head into Jake's rant segment of this week. So we will be right back. You are listening to the Power Play on WDSR Student Radio.